Hello everyone and welcome to part 2 of today's English lesson. So we have been looking at my diary entry and really thinking, well, how can we change it to make it better? And we've looked at some personal emotions and feelings so far, but now we're going to really think, well, how could we tackle that second feature that we need to include more of? How could we include some more time conjunctions? And we know that we could actually include them at the start of our sentence. And we've got a start of our new sentence here, our new paragraph, all about our main event. So we could say that I decided to make the most of this horrendous situation and get on with life. But what time conjunction, what fronted adverbial of time could we use to say when we did that? Oh, was it earlier this morning? Was it maybe tomorrow morning? Well, the following morning. So we could use the time conjunction or the adverbial of time, the following morning, to describe when. And I need to make sure that I remember my comma after this adverbial of time, because I need to make that is just the rule that we know, isn't it? So the following morning, I decided to make the most of this horrendous situation and get on with life. And as I'm reading this, I don't really like the word horrendous that I've used here. I think that I could use a better word than horrendous. Perhaps I could say that it was an awful situation. If something's awful, when might it happen? Well, it might happen in my nightmare, so it could be classed as a nightmare situation. So you can see that as I'm reading my diary, I'm actually deciding, well, some of these words can actually change because I don't like them anymore, and you might feel the same too, and that's okay. So I managed to survive my first day in the wilderness by doing a variety of things. One thing I was particularly proud of today is that as I was carefully exploring my new surroundings, I found a den. You wouldn't believe how spacious and homely it felt. I couldn't wait to rest my head there tonight. And as I'm reading that, I can see that I've highlighted those words. I couldn't wait to rest my head there tonight, because I think I could include some better emotions and feelings here to really tell my reader, yes, I feel this type of way. So I could say that I felt quite excited that I had somewhere to rest my head tonight, but I could also add a time adverbial here, suddenly. So when, suddenly, comma, I felt quite excited that I had somewhere to rest my head tonight. So you can see that I've been able to change that around, that it's still saying the same as before. It still says the main point is that I couldn't wait to rest my head there tonight, but we're not only getting our personal emotions and feelings, but also our time adverbial, suddenly. Amazing. The only downside to this wonderful, luxurious den is that it didn't have a roof. So how did you feel that it didn't have a roof then? Did you feel annoyed? Did you feel unhappy? How did you feel? But I think I'll manage without. That's how I felt. I felt that I could manage without a roof, and that was okay. Okay, let's move on to the next paragraph then, all about being really hungry, seeing where we can add any more personal emotions and feelings and any time conjunctions. But before I do that, can you have a go at reading the rest of my diary? We've gone through half of it. Can you read the rest of it and identify where I could add any of these two features, please? Pause the video now and have a go. Did you spot where I could add anything else? Fantastic. So let's have a look as we are reading where we could add something else. So, soon my stomach was growling at me like a pack of wolves ready to pounce on their prey. I went foraging around the deserted clearing and managed to find some grubs and cocoa beans. Okay, instead of this managed to find, I didn't really like that. So I'm going to change it and I'm going to think, well, what could I say instead of managed to find? I could have found something. How did I find this thing? Did I find it quickly? Did I find it slowly? Or did I find it miraculously? Which means that something is a miracle. So it was a miracle that I was able to find some grubs and some cocoa beans, which I used to make some delicious chocolate pancakes. And when I say this chocolate, I don't think my reader quite understands why I've decided to write chocolate in that way. And I want to describe to them why I've decided to use chocolate in that way. And I'm just going to say that I say chocolate because I was trying to convince myself that they were, although they definitely weren't. So I was trying to convince myself that they were pancakes when they definitely were not chocolate pancakes. And then I've also highlighted this sentence, I was acclimatizing to rainforest life well. And I'm starting to think, well, how can I change this to maybe include some personal emotions or some time conjunctions? I could say that today, I surprised myself. So I've added another time conjunction here to say when. So yes, I could have just written, I surprised myself. But that difference in the sentence when I say, today, I surprised myself. I was acclimatizing to rainforest life well. So let's look at our next paragraph now. So we can see that we're opening it with the time conjunction. After that, which is amazing, fantastic, I saw a mischievous, cheeky monkey rubbing its hand together near a beehive. So I was curious. I could change that to I felt curious. And instead of saying I went to observe, I could say I wanted. Not only have I got this past tense verb wanted, that tells me more about how I'm feeling and what I wanted to do. I wanted to observe what he was doing. And then I can read on and read that he was rubbing ants into his hands, using it as a repellent to retrieve some honey from the bees without being stung. So instead of saying that he was rubbing ants into his hands, what I could do here is say that I could not believe it. I couldn't believe that he was rubbing ants on his hands. What type of feature is that? I couldn't believe. Well done, that's a personal emotion. Fantastic. Okay, so we can have a look now. These words, I was immersing myself into the rainforest climate. I also had a go. Now these words, immersing myself, do you know what they mean? Immersing myself often means you're getting yourself, you're kind of jumping into it. You're really trying to get yourself involved in the rainforest climate. So I wasn't immersing myself, I was actually trying to immerse myself. Because when I was reading this, I realised that actually I wasn't immersing yet. I was trying my best. I also had a go. So I rubbed lots of tiny, delicate ants into my hands and slowly climbed the tree, ripping some of the fresh, sticky honey off. I could use a time conjunction here. Next, I slowly climbed the tree. I could also, if I was feeling extra like I wanted to impress Miss Newman, I could then change this word so that it might have put then. So then I rubbed lots of tiny, delicate ants in my hands. Next, I slowly climbed the tree, ripping some of the fresh, sticky honey off. And now we're on to our final conclusion that I hope tomorrow will be a better day. I still feel incredibly worried that I may never find my way back home. So we've got in those feelings there. I'm going to attempt to make a raft tomorrow. I want to sail down the floating river to Manhouse and find safety. After the day I had, it can't get any worse. So I think I didn't really want to change that last paragraph because I've got my feelings in there and I've got what I want to do as well. Okay, now I have had a go at editing my diary entry with you. You can see here on the screen that you've got lots and lots of different edits in red and in blue. So I have came to my final best write of my diary entry, and that is here in front of me now. So can you now read it and identify now, have I included all the features and am I happy with them? Pause the video and have a read. Okay, and I think I'm very happy with the features that I've used in my diary entry. I can see that now I've used all of my features. I've also included more of those personal feelings and also those time conjunctions. Now your task today is to do what we did first of all. Read through your diary entry from yesterday, take your time and use the diary entry features checklist. Have you included anything and what do you need to add? So you can either tick or dot. Be really strict on yourself. If you have used the past tense for your main events, if you've only done that with 3 of your verbs, then you need to go back and add some more verbs in, okay? Because some of you might say that you've ticked everything If you have ticked everything, then you need to go back and choose at least 2 features that you want to improve further. Even if you've already included them, you need to make sure you do that. Then what I would like you to do, to go back to your diary entry from yesterday, make those edits on your page using your checklist to help you. When you've edited over the top of your diary, then I would like you to rewrite your diary entry on this page, or maybe on your own piece of paper, in its best form, okay? Because I want to have lots of these to put on my display when we go back into school. So they need to make sure that your handwriting is the best it can be. You've punctuated well, you've used your capital letters, your full stops, and you've used lots and lots of the features of a diary entry. Okay, that is your task for today, Year 4. Make sure you take your time. This is the final lesson on our diary entries for today. Thank you for listening, and have a fantastic rest of your day. See you in our next video, Year 4. Bye.